Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
Whenever we're gaming, we're talking about Heroes of Terrinoth from Fantasy Flight Games.
For some of you watching, some of the components may look a little familiar to you because this is a re-implementing of the Warhammer Adventure card game that Fantasy Flight was putting out, but now since they no longer have the Warhammer license, they redid it, and from what I heard, changed the rules a tiny bit and put it in the Terrinoth universe.
And no, we haven't played the Warhammer Quest game, so we're not going to compare the two. I don't know if this changes enough to make it worth buying because I haven't bought that one, so don't bother asking.
The only one that I do know is that characters like get success tokens and then put them on the card they want to do or something, and then here you just have a pool of success tokens. It's the only thing I've ever heard. So there we go. And actually I had the opportunity to play Warhammer Adventure card game a couple of times. Some of my friends who got it, were telling me that it's really good and that I would really like it, and they were like, it was a lot of like, we should play this tonight, okay, and then we just never get around to it. Mm-hmm. But I will say that this game is really good. Probably one of my favorite co-op game that came out this year. There aren't a lot of co-op games that came out this year in recent memory, so maybe that's not saying much. But
favorite co-op in a long time.
In a long time. Because call it my favorite co-op game right now would be a little premature because I've only played it a few times. But the main reason why I like it a whole lot is because I really love the Lord of the Rings LCG. Mm-hmm. And this is very reminiscent of that. Really gives me that feel of trying to fight monsters while still trying to advance on a quest is kind of the main thing. And also just very scenario-based, very story-based of where, you pick one that we're going to do. Because in Lord of the Rings, I never really did that. I still haven't done the Lord of the Rings or Hobbit campaigns yet. So I'm very familiar with Lord of the Rings is pick a thing. Let's do this one.
And the reason I would pick this over the Lord of the Rings LCG for me personally is to me it felt like Lord of the Rings LCG with zero deck building. Instead of having a deck of cards you're trying to draw and you're trying to, I guess there's a lot of differences in the way that your personal play area works.
There's dice and stuff.
There's dice. You're not trying to get allies and stuff as well.
But the biggest thing in how the lifestyle of the game works.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
It's that this game is you open it up, you pick a scenario, you pick a character, and you go. And now, in the future, they may add a campaign to it, depending on how well this does, I'm sure. They'll have campaign expansions. Right now, you just get a series of one-off campaigns one-off scenarios that you can play. Now, there's no deck building, but it doesn't mean there's no variability between gameplay or even between characters. One, you get a crap ton of characters to choose from all the different classes. And then within that class, there are certain things that you can do during each scenario that let you upgrade cards that you have. Because you have your 4 action cards and you exhaust them to do that action. And, there's attack, aid, rest, and explore. And those are the different things you can do. And so it says, okay, upgrade 1. It's like, okay, I'm going to upgrade my attack. When you go to upgrade, there's 2 different paths for every class. So, the healer class has 2 different trees they can go down.
So, And actually, if you've played, especially if you played Descent, but if you played anything else in the Runebound universe, these will be familiar to you. Healer has Spirit Speaker class and Disciple class. Oh, wow. Those are the 2 classes that were in the Descent base game. Same thing with Warrior has Knight and Berserker. Mage has Rune Master and Geomancer. Maybe a little bit of the same guys again, no new characters. You might be feeling that, and that's a little bit understandable, I guess. But for me, I like the familiarity because I got into gaming mostly because of Descent. It was Risk and Magic, but Descent was a big event in my life, and I still play it all the time. I have everything for it. So being able to see these characters again, I'm like, yeah!
Yeah, it's kind of like if I pull out a game and what, you can play as Luke Skywalker? Sweet. I'm not what, there's not a new Jedi out there? No, it's exciting because it's their familiar character. Mm-hmm. And with those trees that you pick a side, obviously, each side has an advantage, so you can't I'm going to upgrade my attack according to the Berserker, but I'll upgrade my Explorer according to the Knight. Now, you pick one, that's the only way you can go. So you can have, you can play a scenario with a character, upgrade, and fail, and be okay, I want to play this character again, but I want to upgrade the other direction to see if that helps, or I want to play a different character within that class, or I want to play a whole different class altogether. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8.
Dang it. It's 8 scenarios in the box. You have a lot of variability even within those. And the story may not be unique, but your experience with how you handle it can be.
I am very interested to see what they come out with for this game. Because knowing Fantasy Flight, unless the game does super poorly, which honestly doesn't happen for Fantasy Flight, and shouldn't happen for this game, they're going to be pumping out a lot of expansions. I would love to see, like you said, maybe a campaign expansion, a scenario pack, some more heroes, monster packs. Maybe I would rather, now that I say it, I want to see just a boxed expansion. If they separate all those, like I just said, I would like to see a dice pack.
Yeah. That's one of my first big complaint with this, is you get 6 dice, 3 white dice, 3 black dice. Pretty much everything you do in the game, you're going to be rolling dice to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I get this many dice for it. And the white dice are the good dice. This is what successes you get. The black dice, you roll 1 for every creature engaged with you. So and they fight back. Anything you do, the creatures are going to hit you back while you're doing it, pretty much, or fail. The black dice are bad. So you get 1 black dice per bad guy, 1 white die, depending on what your abilities are, and you roll them. But there are so many times where I'd be like, I need 6 black dice. So I'm going to roll these, remember what they are, and I'm going to roll them all again. Like, I get why, to keep costs down and everything, and to sell more dice packs.
Which, I mean, come on. Mansions of Madness, Descent, Rune Wars miniature game,
Imperial Assault,
Imperial Assault,
X-Wing,
Armada, Legion. They do that. They do dice packs a lot, okay? So I'm not... I mean, I'm mad, but I'm not... It's not
surprising.
Yeah.
Like,
not,
what? They didn't give you enough dice to make you happy?
Especially because the dice has an exploding dice mechanic, which I like. It's pretty cool because it's only one face on the die, and it's a pretty modest exploding dice. The only time when I really don't like exploding dice was like in Arcadia Quest, because you get to a point where you're rolling like 6 dice, and I think the exploding dice was like 2 sides on there, so it just became a mess. It was like, at that point, just lower all the numbers or something. I don't know.
And I think that part of the reason why that's okay is because like the bad stuff that happens is so bad. Like, okay, I rolled a bad symbol on the black dice, so this guy attacks me. But I also rolled a shield on my good dice, so I block that. No, I block 1 of the damage that he does to me. So, okay, well that means I'm taking 4 damage, and that means I block 1 of them. So you kind of need the exploding dice to counteract just how bad these dice are.
But what I'm saying is, before I was interrupted by this jerk, the exploding dice, a lot of the cards have you roll 3 dice. So you have to stop. It's not just like if you get overwhelmed with enemies and you have to re-roll the black ones. No, it's pretty common that you have to remember what you rolled and then re-roll. They gave you the absolute bare minimum.
Especially because you're all rolling dice every turn. So it's like roll the dice, pass all the dice over here. Like, and we got a little spoiled with Descent and Imperial Assault because we bought enough dice packs where it's like, there's dice pools all over the table. So grab dice from anywhere. But it's particularly annoying because like if the dice rolls across the table or something, it's not like, okay, well, we'll get to that when we get over there. It's no, gather all the dice back together so I can do something else.
The only other negative that I do have is, while this does give me the feel of Lord of the Rings without the deck building, that in particular is a bit of a negative. Like, okay, sometimes Lord of the Rings, like I have decks just already built, but if I don't want to play with those decks, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to build a new deck. But also sometimes I really like that. I like drawing cards, and I like looking at my hand and trying to see what I can get. I like putting decks together. So while this may hit the table more often because I don't have to build decks, I kind of wish I could. You know, and that's just me. That's my... I know he hates deck build. Well, not hates deck build, but
I don't have time for deck building.
That's not your... Right, and that's not really your personality. Being a seasoned Lord of the Rings, kind of Magic, but more like, you know, Lord of the Rings, Netrunner, and Game of Thrones, being a seasoned player in those, I kind of wish that there was that component here. But even without it, still absolutely love this game. One of my favorite... I'll just say, one of my favorite co-op game that came out this year.
It's 2018.
So great.
Just in case you're watching this like 20 years from now.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that negative is one of my biggest positives to this game. Is I absolutely love the Lord of the Rings deck building game. I've never built a deck in it because Tom has everything for it. So I'll just go over there and Tom's like, here's the deck, you're playing this. And like that whole aspect of it, I feel like I'm missing out on a portion of the game. And I don't like that, and I don't have to worry about that here. So if that's what you're looking for, is that LCG adventure style game, but condensed down to a box, especially in the Terrinoth universe, you should absolutely pick this game up. And there will be a link in the description box down below where you can do that.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
Gather all the dice back together so I can do something else. We're going to harp more on dice now.
Yeah.